All these turtles, they don't even have to worry about learning how to read.
I'm sorry, but hi. I couldn't help but overhear that you were talking about your struggles with reading. Well, yeah. I just want to let you know that with accommodations and modifications, there's ways that we can conquer the learning disability that you may have, especially when it pertains to reading. I think that we can get through this together. Oh no, hold on, here.
So, what is a learning disability?
So according to some research that I did, learning disabilities, they're due to genetic and or neurobiological factors that alter brain functioning in a manner which affects one or more cognitive processes related to learning. These processing problems can interfere with basic learning skills such as reading, writing, or math. With writing, a student might have written expression disorder. With math, they may have something referred to as dyscalculia. And with reading, a student might have dyslexia.
So, what are some signs and symptoms that you might see at like a preschool age?
At a preschool age, you might notice a student have trouble finding the right word whenever asked to find the right word. You might notice some difficulty rhyming words.
Okay.
You might also notice some trouble learning the alphabet, numbers, colors, shapes, and even days of the week. And finally, you might notice the child having difficulty following directions or learning basic routines.
Okay. So, what are some symptoms at age 5 to 9?
At 5 to 9, you're going to notice trouble learning the connection between letters and sounds. You're going to notice some confusion whenever you start talking about basic words, and especially when reading. And you're going to notice that the students are really slow to learn new skills.
Okay. So, what are some signs and symptoms at age 10 to 13?
At 10 to 13, you're going to notice the student having some difficulty whenever reading, especially reading comprehension. You're going to notice trouble with word problems, and you're going to really notice that the student is going to dislike reading. When it comes to learning disabilities that have to do with reading, you could separate them into two different groups: basic reading problems and reading comprehension problems. Basic reading problems occur when there is difficulty understanding the relationship between sounds, letters, and words. Reading comprehension problems occur when there is an inability to grasp the meaning of words, phrases, and paragraphs. Signs of reading difficulty include problems with letter and word recognition, understanding words and ideas, reading speed and fluency, and general vocabulary skills. I know what we should do is we should go have a word with my friend, Dr. Lindsay. She'll know a little bit more about diagnosing.
Learning disabilities are normally diagnosed by conducting 2 tests and noticing a significant difference between those 2 scores. These tests are an IQ test and a standardized achievement test. There are different ones for each disability, such as writing, math, and reading. So for us, it would be reading. Most children found to have a learning disability have a normal or above intelligence, but do not fully demonstrate their potential.
So maybe, for example, there might be a youngster in a class and they score a 112 on the full scale IQ test. But then when it comes to their reading portion, they score a 90. A 22-point discrepancy is pretty big, and it really doesn't show the actual achievement, that the student contains. It might qualify the student for special services at the school, right, Doc?
Well, according to my research, that is correct.
Doc, what if a student's reading disability isn't, noticed in time? What if they don't catch it?
Well, according to my research, these additional difficulties may be emotional, and a child can show signs of sadness, frustration, and disappointment.
Sadness, frustration, and disappointment? That's not cool, Doc.
Well, Riley, that's all I have for you today. Why don't you talk about accommodations? Thanks, Doc. What are accommodations?
Plain and simple, accommodations are alterations in the way tasks are presented that allow children with learning disabilities to complete the same assignments as other students. Accommodations don't necessarily alter the content of the assignment, but rather give students that unfair advantage, or in the case of the assessment, change what a test measures. They do make it possible for students with learning disabilities to show what they know without being impeded by their disability. They're truly incredible things. So riddle me this, Lindsay. What do you think might happen if an accommodation is implemented in the classroom and then all of a sudden it doesn't seem to be helping the student? What is something that a teacher might do?
Well, selecting and monitoring the effectiveness of accommodations should be ongoing. Changes should be made pretty often. The key is to be sure that chosen accommodations address students' specific areas of need and facilitate the demonstration of skill and knowledge.
Good job, Lindsay. Now we're going to look at Liam for a moment.
Meet Liam. Liam is a middle school student who has low vision. He struggles to read standard print materials in a timely fashion. Although he reads at grade level, Liam has difficulty finishing science reading assignments in class during the allotted time. At first, his teacher was a bit perplexed. She assumed that Liam's glasses provided full vision correction. However, after paying closer attention to Liam during reading, she noticed that he still needs to hold reading material close to his face. And even then, he still squints. As a result, it takes him longer to read a passage. She wonders what type of accommodations will help Liam read text faster or more efficiently. So now, we're going to set aside some time for you guys to answer this question. What are some things that might help Liam? To address the barrier presented by Liam's disability, which is reading standard print, the IEP team worked hard and decided to provide him with a digital textbook that allows him to enlarge the text. The team hopes this will help him read more efficiently and complete science reading assignments in the allotted time, because he will now not have to strain to read the small print.
In conclusion, learning disabilities interfere with learning basic reading skills. Although, by taking the right steps and by using accommodations, students can excel in the classroom. Those steps are acknowledging signs and symptoms and taking action. Whether the student is like Liam, who could not see well, or a student has any other obstacle such as dyslexia or difficulty understanding the relationship between sounds, letters, and words, these students can be very successful if given the right opportunities. As future teachers, we must be understanding and do whatever we can to help our students be their best. As former President Obama once said, reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible.